Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's Ursula Bailey, and in today's video I'm going to be revealing the truth about alien abduction and how it relates to astral projection. Okay, so there are tons of alien abduction stories and experiences. You can find them online. I personally always love reading people's stories. I find them super fascinating. But the thing I find most interesting is the similarities between alien abduction stories and astral projection or sleep paralysis stories. Okay, so just on a personal note, I have not experienced abduction in terms of being taken up into a ship. However, I have experienced many things in line with your typical alien abduction stories, and I have experienced them through either sleep paralysis or astral projection. So I have come to the conclusion now that the majority of alien abduction experiences are in fact astral experiences. Most people who experience alien abduction seem to do so at nighttime, and in most of the stories people will say that they woke up in the middle of the night, they were fully conscious, and then some strange things started happening. So they might say that they saw kind of like a flash or a beam of light, or that they heard a craft that was really loud and the vibrations seemed to go right through their body. They'll often say that they were completely frozen in terror, and sometimes they'll even say that a being was in their room or several beings were in their room with them. What's interesting here is that all of these things are actually pre-astral projection symptoms, and I've actually experienced all of them myself, including seeing non-human beings in my room with me. So from here, people often either report that they found themselves in a ship, they were beamed up into a ship, or that they stayed in their room but some kind of medical experiments or procedures were carried out on them. So as I said before, personally I've never been taken up into a ship per se, but I have had many experiences with non-human beings and them pulling me out of body in different ways. Sometimes I will be on a conveyor belt, other times I will just notice that there's other beings in the room with me, and most commonly for me, what they usually do is they flip me over on my stomach, and it almost feels like a mechanical kind of arm comes down and grabs me from kind of like the scruff of my neck. It's kind of like a mother cat picking up a kitten, and then it kind of just lifts me up into space, and I travel through space for a little bit, and then it will drop me where I need to go. And this never feels like a negative experience to me. It always feels really positive and really loving. I've never had a problem with it. It doesn't hurt or anything like that. I don't find it frightening in any way. So I mentioned that I haven't actually been on a ship. However, I have seen spacecraft many times, and I've also had the medical procedure experience. But for me, the person who was carrying out this procedure did not appear alien to me. However, the thing is with the astral is that you put your own personal distortions on things. So it came through to me as a man in kind of like a lab coat. This procedure was related to my reproductive organs, and it was a little bit, I felt a little bit apprehensive at the beginning, but I'm very aware of how thoughts and feelings can shape an astral experience, so I quickly kind of neutralized any negative feelings and emotions, and it was kind of over in 5 seconds. So it's these experiences that I've had that have led me to believe that the majority of alien abduction stories are actually sleep paralysis or astral projection stories. And I think the main thing with these experiences is our own personal distortions that we put on them. So basically, you know, there's an objective and a subjective side to anything, even physical reality. You know, like I could be going for a walk on the beach with a friend, and objectively we're both taking a walk on the beach, but subjectively that experience could be completely different for both of us depending on what we had for breakfast, how our sleep was, the night before, you know, even just our social conditioning and how we communicate with one another could make the experience very different for the two of us. So it's important to remember that there's objective truth and subjective truth in every experience. However, in the astral, things are just so much more fragile to thought and emotion. So you have to be really careful that your experience isn't being manipulated by your own thoughts and feelings. And that's where I think people have these really traumatizing encounters, because they're kind of falling victim to their own fear. But in reality, these experiences don't have to be scary at all. I believe that the majority of these experiences are happening on a vibrational level and an energetic level, not a physical level. So I think that people get really frightened because they think that they're physically in danger or they're physically at risk, but really this is an energetic experience. And the truth is that your guides and your helpers are always protecting you. There's nothing to be afraid of. But if you're going to let yourself succumb to fear, then you're basically creating this kind of really fearful situation. And I'm not saying that physical ET experiences don't exist. I would be very naive to think that we are alone in the physical universe. However, if we're talking on a technological standpoint and looking at technological evolution, it makes sense that communication would happen through a vibrational level before it happens on a physical level. Even humans have learned how to communicate via radio waves and frequency so that we don't have to physically travel. Even Daryl Anker, who channels Bashar, has talked about his UFO experience and the experience of others being a potential manipulation of frequency so that only specific people can perceive the experience. So this could be the case where you have a group of people who have an alien encounter and they're kind of standing there going, whoa, look at this craft, but then there's people around them who are still going about their day and haven't noticed. Speaking of Daryl Anker, and bearing in mind that channeling is essentially when the host goes and astral projects while an extra dimensional being speaks through them. This is another huge indicator that extraterrestrial or extra dimensional contact is happening via the astral, which is essentially just a shift in vibrational frequency. So going back to what I was saying before about objective and subjective truth, and remembering that objective truth and subjective truth is always present whether you're in physical reality or non-physical reality. The astral can be very fragile to thoughts and feelings, so the best way to discern whether an experience, whether it be an alien encounter or a psychic experience, the best way to discern whether that is a genuine experience or whether it's been heavily influenced by your own thoughts and feelings is to come to it from a very neutral frequency. So if you can make your own feelings very neutral, then you're going to be able to separate what's really going on from what you think is going on. And a lot of the time that's all the fear-based stuff. So all that kind of traumatizing experience, that's all manifestations of fear. And if you can separate that from what's really happening, then you get a more general idea. I had an experience where I was pulled out of body, and as I was being pulled out, I kind of looked back at my physical body and it had a glowing flower of life symbol on my head. And it was really interesting, and as I was kind of being pulled out, the scene kind of faded out and I found myself in the void surrounded by 5 super tall light beings, and they were just completely pumping me with telepathic downloads of unconditional love and connectedness. It was so overwhelming. The best way I can describe it is that it was like a super euphoric climax happening right in my heart chakra, and it was so nice, but it was so overwhelming at the same time. It was just the most love I have ever felt in my life, and it was just completely euphoric. And I knew straight away that this was a very genuine experience. First of all, just from the feel of the experience itself, but also I had come into it from a very neutral frequency, so I knew there were no subjective overlays. And it just makes me think, how amazing would it be if more people could come into these experiences from a neutral standpoint, where they're not resisting, where they're just kind of relaxing into it, because you know, these experiences can be so amazing. Keep in mind that my conclusions have been built on my own experiences. You are welcome to take what resonates and leave what doesn't. I think there are just too many similarities between alien abduction stories and astral projection or sleep paralysis stories to think that they're not linked. And I know that many other astral projectors have come to the same conclusions. I'm definitely not the first person to talk about this. But let me know what you think, you know, maybe leave a comment and let me know, do you think that alien abduction and astral projection are linked? Do you think it's the same experience? Or do you think that the majority of alien abductions are physical experiences? I'd love to know what you think. Also, if you have any alien contact stories of your own, definitely leave those in the comments too, because I love to read them. Yeah, so that's all for now, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you again soon.